Hello everyone and welcome to our t-test presentation by Myrna Melly Ortiz and Katie Ventres. What is a t-test? A t-test is a statistic that verifies if two means are reliably different from each other. A statistical significant t-test indicates whether or not two groups' averages reflect a real difference in the population from which groups were sampled. Statistical significance is determined by the size of the difference between the two groups' averages in sample size and standard deviation of the group. Each t-value has a corresponding p-value, which tells us the probability that the pattern of the data in the sample could be produced by random data. When to use a t-test, you might ask? A t-test is used when the population parameters, mean and standard deviation, are not known. For example, after a drug trial, members of a placebo-fed control group reported an increase in average life expectancy of 3 years, while members of the other group were prescribed the new drug reported an increase in average life expectancy of 4 years. Observation may indicate that the drug is working as results are better for the group using the drug. However, it is possible this observation may be a chance of occurrence. A t-test can help conclude if the results are actually accurate and applicable to the entire population. This is an example of how t-test is used and how it is broken down. Significance level expressed as p-values. This chart explains statistical inferences indicating the strength of the evidence corresponding to different values of p. A p-value is measured of probability that an observed difference could have occurred by random chance. The lower the p-value, the greater the statistical significance of the observed difference. P equals 0.5 means that there is 5% probability. P equals 0.01 means that the chances are only in 1,000. This is an example of how t-tests can be used and when it is used. This is descriptive inferential statistics and an example of how it is used. Descriptive statistics is used to describe and organize, summarize information about an entire population. Inferential statistics is used to generalize a population based on a sampled data. There are 3 types of t-tests: independent samples, paired samples, and one sample. This is the formula for independent means t-tests. T-test for dependent means formula, and this is broken down. And this is the one sample t-test formula, which tests the mean of one group against a set of mean. For example, researchers are interested if the pulse rate of long-distance runners is different than the other athletes. SPSS independent sample t-test. We decided to include this in here to explain how it is calculated. An independent sample t-test compares the means of 2 independent groups in order to determine whether there is a statistical evidence that the associated populations are significantly different. We included the steps and also included how it will be done in SPSS. With the t-test, independent samples, and the independent sample effect sizes, SPSS paired t-test. A paired t-test is used when interested in the difference between 2 variables for the same subject, and these are the steps using SPSS to calculate. The example that was done in SPSS is here for the paired sample, and this is the research study for problem-based learning. Why? It is used to determine the outcome of problem-based learning in conjunction with the improvement of the learning outcomes. It was a study that we found from a research article where it was between 2 different groups of student data. How it was used, you may ask? Using data from test results, polls, and student activities with the use of paired sample t-tests and independent sample t-tests. Number 1 was to test the normality of the data. Number 2, test paired sample t-tests. Number 3, independent sample t-tests. And this is an example of the descriptive statistics taken from that study. This is an example of the paired sample statistics taken from that study. And this is an example of independent sample t-tests taken from that group of statistics. And these are our references. Thank you so much for watching.